do what you will with it. The next question is, what would you consider the strengths and the weaknesses of the other candidates for mayor? Andy Adams.
First off, I'd like to acknowledge both Walter and Steve for stepping up and participating in local government and wanting to make a difference in their community. That's a strength, and I applaud them both for doing so. For Steve, his strengths are his interest and desire to engage the community. That has been repetitive throughout the debates, and I commend you on that. If there is a weakness, and I hate to use that term, it's just that Steve hasn't been in the community for over the past decade. And is not as familiar as to having a finger on the pulse as to what the community really needs. But aside from that, I have no further comments. For Walter, his strength is he has numerous ideas. He's an idea guy. Some of them are really good. His weakness is his inability to respectfully articulate those ideas to council and staff in order to make those ideas happen. In the last 3 years, he's not been able to achieve his objectives due to his communication style and leadership. I've said many times over the past 3 years that I agree with 25% of what Walter says. 25% I oppose. The other 50%, it's not what he's saying, it's how he's saying it. Lastly, rather than working with the democratically elected council to achieve objectives, he's chosen to form a slate which demonstrates a lack of respect for democracy and an inability to work with people that you have chosen to be your representatives. Thank you.
Thank you. Walter, I certainly like his aggressiveness in trying to achieve modest tax hikes, and I appreciated our hour-and-a-half discussion a few months back and discussing issues that we felt were in the community's best interest. And he's certainly a likable and jolly person. Walter's challenges, however, are that he's not been able to deliver nor convince other members of council of even modest tax hikes. And I question the appropriateness, respectfully, Walter, of telling people you'll deliver a 15% tax decrease without a single concrete example of how you'll do it. It couldn't be done without massive and devastating cuts to services and programs. I like Andy, and we've had several good discussions. He's always well-dressed and a classy guy, and I think he's a good representative for our city. However, as has been pointed out on many occasions, Andy, along with other members of council, respectfully, have apparently been on a, let's say, spending spree objective during difficult financially challenging times for many people. Past failed referendums, spending approximately $60,000 trying to convince Area D residents to join our city, when clearly they had no desire to do so, and most recently, spending $250,000 on traffic lights for 14th Avenue and Peterson Road, when clearly the area of business and residents affected had stated that four-way stop signs would clearly have worked adequately and with incredibly less cost to the taxpayer. Again, not negative, however, just pointing out the fiscal realities with so many residents struggling financially to make ends meet. And let's not forget tax hikes of 14, 12, 9, 4, 4, and 3, accumulating to a whopping 46% over 6 years. It's not personal, but I have to hold you accountable, buddy.
So first I was going to avoid answering this question, but thinking about it overnight, I figured out how to make it happen. So Andy's strength is that he's very polite, and he has 9 years of council experience. Andy's weakness is he's very polite and has 9 years of council experience. Sometimes on council and in the mayor's seat, being polite is less than being efficient. Sometimes visiting a home shelter, the food bank, Second Chance, the Habitat Build, and getting your hands dirty, literally and metamorphously, is more important than being nice. As for 9 years of experience, that's about the limit of effectiveness. Just look at the American president. Their limit is 8 years. There's a condition that politicians often get. It's called your eyes are too close together, and it affects your vision. I this, I that, I want, I did. There is a cure. Albert Einstein defined insanity as doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. 9 years is enough. When politicians are in for too long, they start to think they own the place. And there's no benefit for anybody in that. Thank you. Steve, you have experience on council. You certainly know the history of the city. The problem is you're outdated. Your experience relates to Jim Morney era. That was 5 mayors ago. Steve's living in a reminisce. Well, he looks for life fulfillment and for a job. He does have a history, but he also left us for greener pastures when he was here before. You know the words, but you lack recent depth. You're a great guy. Good job, Steve. Thank you.